Right.
So the higher the standards are, actually people want to commit to high standards.
Right.
A lot of times people think, you know, that's really too much, I can't have that expectation. I can just tell you, there are a lot of churches, like if you're, I'll give you an example, if you're in the worship team, some of the largest churches, if you're in the worship team, you're only allowed to miss four Sundays a whole year. Okay, because they want people to be an example.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you lower the standards, then you don't know what you're going to get in the worship team or with your choir. You know, sometimes people show up, sometimes people don't show up. And it causes really a large amount of problem. And then the lower the standards get, the worse the growth gets. And to get people then committed to something, they don't want to do that. See, people want to know that there are standards, and these are the standards we have.
Right.
So, and I think we should always give people choices. These are our standards. If you don't meet the standards, you don't have to join the team.
Mm-hmm.
See, we love you. You can sit here in church. You don't have to do anything. But if you want to join this, these are the standards. That's what actually causes the church to grow, because people want to commit to that. Now, when people commit to that, of course, then your foundation gets stronger.
Right.
So your foundation has to be, the strongest thing about the church is the foundation of it. People, when they start churches and they don't have the standards, their churches hardly ever grow because the standards are not there. See, from the foundation of a church, the standards have to be high enough. Now, I'm not saying, you know, that in every ministry it needs to be 4 absences, that's it. But for instance, there always needs to be some standards in every ministry. And some dress code. Dress code, by the way, churches that are growing a lot, I can't say the dress code gets them, but the other standards gets the church to grow. But I will say this. I think dress code is important, personally. And the reason is, there's a lot of people that are lower, upper middle class, lower upper class and above people. They would come to church casual, but they expect the ministry not to be casual.
Right.
So, I mean, there's all sorts of surveys done, and you can find them in all different types of books.
Right.
And I will tell you, that is really the truth.
They
So if you
dress
have-
up during the week.
They dress up during the week. They don't dress up during Sunday, but they want everybody else, their worship team, they want them to look good. And they view things. When people come into church and they're new, first-time visitors, they look at everything. They look how good it is or how sloppy it is, and they make a judgment. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you want a church to grow, the standards have to be there. And you have to commit. You have to commit to the standards.
Right.
And it's not trying to be hard with people, but again, if I join you, this is something really good to be joining, and I have to be willing to sacrifice to become part of this.
Mm-hmm.
See, so I want to create that mentality in church people,
Right.
that this is really something worthwhile. You're joining this, the worship team, you're joining the choir, this is something worthwhile. But you have to sacrifice. Of course, here's another thing. No, in my opinion, nobody joins anything unless they're tithing. Now, here's something you don't do, okay? Now, when you join the worship team, would you please tithe? Because, you know, that's our standards. You know how long that would last, right? The first couple Sundays. See, I'm this kind of person. I want to look at the books who's giving.
Mm-hmm.
I do, because I can, by the way, tell what's going on in people's lives when they're not tithing. Okay? Now, let me give you an example. This is typical pastoral ministry. Because I pastored 8 years. I can tell you all about it. First thing people do is they stop tithing. And then they start sitting further and further in the back. And then they disappear. This is always true. You can watch it yourself. See, I want to know that this is going on. Now, this is what I used to do when I pastored. By the way, when we pastored, 95% of our people were tithers. Because that was the standard. If you were involved in ministry, you would be a tither.
And